guys? Part 2 of Roadside, the tutorial. It's an half step down tuning, great song by Rise Against. Make sure you tune your guitar before getting started. Tim plays it in standard tuning live, which is something that's really uncommon for him. So I'm teaching the studio version as opposed to the amazing live version that is on YouTube right now. So bear that in mind, and some parts are going to be easy, some parts are going to be really difficult, but stick with it and you will get it eventually. So let's get started. We're going to start with the intro, which is what I was just playing in the beginning. Sounds like this. You're going to play this twice. So what you want to do is start with your index finger on the 3rd fret of the B string and your pinky on the 5th fret of the B string. What we're going to do is alternate those two notes between the bass note. In this case, it's the open D string. So you're going to plug open D, 5th fret B, open D, and then 3rd fret B. That's why you want your index finger pressing down even though you have your pinky on the 5th fret. Next chord is going to be index finger on the 3rd fret of the A string. This time middle finger on the 3rd fret of the B and pinky again on the 5th fret of the B string. You're going to alternate again between the bass note and the B string. So 3rd fret A, 5th fret B, 3rd fret A, 3rd fret B. Now this next chord you're going to be doing is the 1st fret of the A string, and you want to put your middle finger on the 1st fret of the B string and your pinky on the 3rd fret of the B string. This one has more notes in it, so you're going to alternate again with that 1st fret of the A between all the other notes. It sounds like this. So remember, between each note is that 1st fret A. So A, B on the 3rd fret, A, B 1st fret, A, then you move your pinky to the 3rd fret of the D string, A, open D, A, 2nd fret D with your middle finger. So. So everything together. Regular speed. Again, you play that whole progression twice. Next part is going to be the verse, and it sounds like this. Tell me what I'm supposed to do with all these leftover feelings of you, 'cause I don't know. This part is where I said half of it's easy, half of it's hard. Start with the easy part. You're just going to use these chords here and one down strum for each. First one up is going to be a variation of a D. So you want to mute the 2 E strings, put your index finger on the 7th fret of the G string and your pinky on the 10th fret of the B string. You're going to leave A and D open and just strum down once. Next chord is going to be a variation of a C chord, and that's going to be 10th fret D, 9th fret G, and 8th fret B. After that, it's going to be a variation of an A minor. I use my index finger to bar the 5th fret of the G and B strings, and I use my pinky or my ring finger, whichever is more comfortable, on the 7th fret of the D string. And last chord is going to be a variation of a B flat, and that's going to be 8th fret D, 7th fret G, and 6th fret B. So. Tell me what I'm supposed to do with all these leftover feelings. And then you go into the hard part. So again, just one down strum for each of those chords. That's the first part. Next part sounds like this. This is going to take some time. It took me a while to get the timing right, but I'm going to try to simplify it as much as I can for you. So, pinky, 10th fret B string, ring finger, 10th fret G string. You're going to leave the D string open, and these are the only strings you're going to use for this. So what I do is I play D, B, G, D, B, then I'm going to pluck G again, but this time I'm going to pluck and slide up to the 12th fret from the 10th fret. And that's going to get me started on my next chord. So after that slide up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pluck the 10th fret of the D string, pluck 12th fret G again, 10th fret D, and then 13th fret B, and then 12th fret G, 10th fret D. Now, again, there's a timing part with this that you have to get right. So when you do that slide up, you can pluck that 10th fret of the D string and let it ring out just a little bit longer than the other notes. These two progressions together. Regular speed. Then you go to the next progressions. Next ones sound like this. So what you do, or at least what I do, is I use my index finger to bar an A chord shape. So 2nd fret D, 2nd fret G, and I'm actually going to put my ring finger, or pinky, whichever, on the 3rd fret of the B string, so it makes an A suspended 4th chord. What you're going to do is pluck D, and the same thing as the last note, the last progression we just did, you're going to let it ring out just a little bit longer than the rest. And then pluck 2nd fret G, 2nd fret D again, and then you're going to pluck the 3rd fret of the B string, 2nd fret G, and then you're going to pluck the 2nd fret of the D string again. But when you pluck the 2nd fret of the D again, you're going to slide up to the 3rd fret. So. That's going to start your next chord shape. So once you do that slide, you want to put your pinky and your ring finger on the 5th fret of the B and G strings. And what you're going to do is from that slide, you're going to pluck B, G, and then you're going to move your pinky up to the 6th fret of the B string and pluck that note and give yourself a second to go and bar the 5th fret of the D, G, and B strings with your index finger. Because you're going to be plucking the 5th fret of the G and D strings after that 6th fret B. So after you pluck that 6th fret of the B string, you're going to pluck the 5th fret of the G, 5th fret D, and then you're going to take your finger off the 6th fret of the B string, and again you're barring the 5th fret, pluck the 5th fret B, and then the 5th fret of the G string again. These two progressions together. Regular speed. That's how you play that progression. So I'm going to play those picked notes all together. A little bit slower and then regular speed. Speed. So you play the easy part and then that part twice. So I'm going to play them together once through, slowly, and then once through regular speed. speed. That's how you play the verse. Next part up is going to be the pre-chorus, and there is a lot in this. So I'm going to play it once through and then try to break it down bit by bit. And I don't think you see places inside me that I find. Don't know how we separate the lies here from the truth. No, how we woke up one day and somehow thought we knew exactly what we're supposed to do. So there's one specific progression that is played repeatedly throughout this pre-chorus, and it's this part. That part is played in between each of the other measures, and hopefully this will make sense in a second. But you're going to repeat this a lot. So what you want to do is set your index finger barring the 5th fret of the D, G, and B strings. Put your ring finger on the 6th fret of the B string and your middle finger on the 6th fret of the low E string. What you're going to do is you're going to pluck the 6th fret E and then the 6th fret B, but you're going to pull off to the 5th fret of the B. That's why you're barring with your index finger. Then you're going to pluck the 5th fret of the G string and let that note ring out just a little bit longer than the others. Then 5th fret D and then 5th fret G again. Switching. So from here you're going to move up, middle finger to the 8th fret of the low E string, index finger now just has to rest on the 7th fret of the G string, and what you're going to do is similar to the intro, you're going to alternate between the notes this 8th fret of the low E string. Sounds like this. So start with the 8th fret of the low E, pluck 7th fret G, 8th fret E again, then 9th fret G, 8th fret E again, 10th fret G, 8th fret E again, and then back to the 7th fret G. So those two progressions you're going to play again throughout this pre-chorus. All together a little bit slower. Now these are the parts you're going to learn that are different. First one goes like this. So I'm set up with my index finger on the 7th fret of the G string and my pinky on the 10th fret of the B, with my middle finger also on the 8th fret of the B, because you're going to pull off that 10th fret. What you do is play open D, 7th fret G, open D, 7th fret G, and then you're going to play the 10th fret of the B string, and then you're going to walk back down. So G, D, and then walk back up, G, and then take your pinky off and pluck the 8th fret of the B string, and then walk back down, G, D, and then G again. And then you're going to put your pinky back on the 10th fret of the B string and do it again. So play 10th fret, B, 7th fret G, open D, and then 7th fret G again. So. Like that. So that's the first part that's different. Then you go back to the first thing you learned. Before you go into the next part that's different. So, hope this is starting to make sense. So the next part that's different, next measure or two, you're going to want to set up your middle finger on the 7th fret of the G string, your ring finger on the 8th fret of the B string and your index finger on the 6th fret, again, B string. You're going to do the same picking pattern that you did in the part you just learned. So D, G, D, G, B on the 8th fret, G, D, G, B on the 6th fret, G, D, G, and then move your index finger to the 5th fret of the B string, like that, and then D, G, D, G. So that's the second part that's different. Then you go again into the part you learned at the beginning. Then you're going to do the next part that is again different. So this part sounds like this. It's very similar to what you've already played. Again, 10th fret B with your pinky, 8th fret B with your middle finger, and then index finger on the 7th fret of the G string. What you're going to do is pluck it the same way you have been. So D, G, D, G, B on the 10th fret, G, D, G, B on the 8th fret, D, or G, D, G. This time, instead of going back to the 10th fret of the B string, you put your ring finger on the 8th fret of the high E string and pluck that instead. And then G, D, G. A little bit slower. Regular speed. Then you go back into the first part you learned. And this is going to be the easiest part of this pre-chorus because all you do is hold the 7th fret of the G string with your index finger. Make sure you mute the B and the high E string as well as the low E string. I like to use my thumb and just rest it so that doesn't ring out. And you're just going to strum this one. Down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down. So. A lot easier than the other ones. So again, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up. And this is going to lead you into the chorus. So I'm going to play it all together just a little bit slower, the pre-chorus. Pre-chorus is done. Next part up is the chorus, and it involves some palm muting and some interesting chord switching. I'm going to play it through and then show you how. So leave me at the roadside, hang me up and out to dry. So leave me at the roadside, hang me up and out to dry. So again, a lot of interesting chord switching, but what you're going to do is from the end of that pre-chorus where you do the down, 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 up, you're going to move your index finger to the 5th fret of the G string, leave A and D open, the rest are going to be muted, and you're going to do a down strum and slide up back to the 7th fret of the G string. So again, from the 5th fret to the 7th fret, you're going to do a strum, and we start muting the strings. Then strum down, down, down. Put your pinky on the 10th fret of the B string and your middle finger on the 8th fret of the B string, and you're going to do one down strum with the 10th fret, and then take your pinky off and one down strum with the 8th fret. So. And then you take the 8th fret off the B string and then just strum the 7th fret G again. One more time. Then you're going to switch chords. The next chord is going to be your index finger barring the 7th fret of the A, D, and G strings. And again, all of these are going to be muted down strums. You're going to strum this one 8 times, but on the 6th strum, you're going to put your pinky on the 9th fret of the G string, and then you're going to take it off again for the last 2 strums. So what I mean is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's barely audible when you're palm muting, but you're going to need this because on the last part of the chorus you're going to do open strums. So, it's from first chord to second chord. Next chord is going to be a little bit easier. You just put your index finger on the 8th fret of the D string and your middle finger, or your ring finger, I'm sorry, on the 10th fret of the G string. You're going to mute the rest for now, but you're going to want to have your index finger ready so that it can press on the 5th fret, or the, 8th fret of the B string. So for now, just focus on 10th fret D, 12th fret G. Again, palm muted strums, and you're going to do about 4 down strums. And then you're going to put your pinky on the 10th fret of the B string, and that's when you want to push down with your index finger as well, so the 8th fret will be ready, because you're going to strum down with the 10th fret of the B string, then take your pinky off, and strum down with the 8th fret of the B string that you're holding down with your index finger. So. Then you move to the last chord. Now, last chord you don't have to do anything special with, it's just going to be all down strums, so you move your index finger to the 10th fret of the D string and your ring finger to the 12th fret of the G string, and you're just going to do all down strums. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now sometimes on that last strum I'll do a down up as I'm switching back to the beginning, but you don't have to do that, you can just do 8 down strums. So I'm going to do all those parts together a little bit slower. And then you're going to repeat that 2 more times, but without the initial slide up from the 5th fret. You only need that for the very beginning. So if I repeated them, it would sound like this. Play this in the chorus, you're going to want to do open strums instead of palm muting. So same everything, all the notes, all the switches, just not palm muted this time. And that's why I told you to make sure you do those switching notes on the B string. So the open strum sounds like this. And you're going to do that on the last part of the chorus. So all together, again, I know it might be a lot, but just take your time and you'll get it. Into the next pre-chorus. Alright guys, the second pre-chorus is a little bit shorter than the first. You're going to take one whole portion out and it's going to be this part. that whole portion you take out, everything else is played the same way. So it should sound like this all together. And I don't think you see places inside me that I find. Don't know how we woke up one day and somehow thought we knew exactly what we're supposed to do. So that's the second pre-chorus. From there, you're going to move on to that little interlude, the mini solo, or you just really play the intro again. Now from here, there's a little bit extra. So after you play that last note, the second fret of the D string, or the G string, what you're going to do is you're going to let that ring out, and then you're going to pluck it again and hammer on to the third fret of the G string, and then you're going to start doing down strums, metered down strums on a D suspended second chord, which is open A, open D, second fret G, and third fret B. So you do it for 2 measures or 16 down strums. Back up here to the 7th fret of the G string, and you can do 2 more measures of that. So let's pretend I'm ending on that last part. And then you're going to go into the next chorus. So. That instead of playing it 4 times with muted strums, you're going to do it 1 time muted with that initial slide up that you learned in the first chorus, and then after you finished, you're going to do open strums. The reason for this is you're going to start doing regular chords of that same progression. The chords are going to be a D suspended second, open A, open D, second fret G, third fret B, both E's are muted, an A suspended fourth, which is open A, second fret D, second fret G, third fret B, a B flat 5 power chord, and that's going to be first fret A, third fret D, and G strings, the rest are muted, and then a regular C major chord, third fret A, second fret D, open G, first fret B. Those are the chords you're going to be using for this part. So it's going to sound like this. So what I'm doing is with that D suspended second chord, I'm going to strum down, 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 and then I'm going to switch to the A suspended second and strum up, up, down. Flat 5, down, 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 and then switch to C, up, down, 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 down. So you play that twice, and then you're going to go into the last pre-chorus where he ends the song. Just thought about that, that's interesting. But it sounds like this. And I don't think you see places inside me that I don't know how we separate the lies here from the truth. No, how we woke up one day somehow thought we knew exactly what we're supposed to do. Exactly. So this time I'm going to use the B flat 5 power chord, C, each of those gets one measure, and then 2 measures of D suspended second. So it's going to go down, 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 up, switch to C, down, 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 up, switch to D suspended second, down, 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 up, up, down, 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 up, and then you're going to repeat throughout the rest of the, through to the end. Suspended second chord. So, exactly what to do. You just end on that D suspended second. And that's the end of the song. Put all those parts together and you'll be able to play the song just like I did in the cover. If you want to play along with that once you've learned it, go ahead and click the link. It's going to be down below or somewhere up here. I'm not sure where I'm going to do it yet. But as always, if you have any questions, comments, or need any help, go ahead and leave a comment in the comment box down below, and I'll get to it as soon as I can. Got more videos coming in the future. Thanks again, guys, for watching and subscribing. If you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and do that. I'll see you in the next video.